Hello, listeners. What if I told you that 95% of language learners are preparing completely wrong for their listening tests?
It is a staggering statistic, really.
It is. I mean, they practice for hours, they memorize vocabulary, they take mock test after mock test, and they still fail.
Yeah, the effort is there, but the results just aren't.
Exactly. But top-tier students don't have better natural English than you, and they don't have secret shortcuts. So what do they know that you don't?
That is the million-dollar question right there.
In exactly 10 minutes, you're going to learn the secret difficulty curve of listening assessments and the specific 80-20 time management rule that separates average learners from the top 5%. Welcome to Everyday English Flow, Daily English Practice, Natural Speaking, and Effortless Listening Flow.
Thank you so much for having me. This is just such a critical topic to dive into today.
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
really is something we need to talk about.
Because, the sheer volume of frustration surrounding this is just staggering. When you look at the data, you see this incredible, dedication from students.
Yeah, people are working so hard, waking up super early, right?
Exactly. Waking up at 5 in the morning before work to listen to English podcasts, sacrificing their entire weekends to take full-length practice exams. They do absolutely everything they have been told is the right way to study.
And yet they just stay completely stuck.
Right. Despite all of that friction and effort, their scores remain completely stagnant. It's just an agonizing plateau.
It is heartbreaking, honestly,
Yeah.
because, we are not talking about a lack of discipline here. The discipline is clearly there.
Oh, for sure. The drive is undeniably there.
But the issue is that they are directing all of that tremendous energy at completely the wrong target. They are caught in this relentless loop of flawed practice.
Right, and they somehow believe that if they just increase the volume of that flawed practice, the outcome will magically change.
Just like running faster in the wrong direction.
Exactly. But to fix this, we really need to isolate the foundational misconception that keeps them trapped at this intermediate level.
Okay, let's actually pause there for a second. That word, misconception, is super important for our C1 level learners. Could you break that down for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So a misconception is basically a view or opinion that is incorrect because it is based on faulty thinking or understanding.
Right. It is not just like a simple factual error.
Exactly. It's a structural flaw in how you understand something. An example sentence would be, it is a common misconception that reading more automatically improves your listening skills.
That is a great example, and it perfectly frames what we are doing today. Because today, we are going to give you exactly 7 important strategies to completely transform your listening skills.
Yes, 7 core strategies that will fundamentally shift your whole approach.
Definitely. Let's unpack the very first strategy. And remember, in the next 5 minutes, you're going to learn why practicing easy English is actually a trap.
So to really understand this trap, we have to look at how test makers design what is known as the difficulty curve.
The difficulty curve. That sounds almost mathematical, right?
It is entirely mathematical in its design. It is believed by assessment experts that the 40 questions on a standard listening test, they are not just randomly thrown together.
Okay. So they aren't just like a mixed bag of easy and hard questions pulled from a database.
Not at all. They're fractured into 4 distinct parts. And, they follow a very deliberate, aggressive difficulty curve. Parts 1 and 2 are explicitly designed to be manageable.
Right. They were kind of like the on-ramp just to ease you in.
Exactly. They build a false sense of security. But parts 3 and 4, those are engineered to be extremely demanding. They are the mechanisms designed to ruthlessly weed out the average students.
So knowing that this curve exists, how does the average student usually prepare for it?
Well, they fall back on a false sense of fairness. They practice all 4 parts with equal intensity.
So they spend like 25% of their time on part 1, 25% on part 2, and so on.
Yes, which is just a huge misallocation of time. They are spending hours reviewing the simple stuff in parts 1 and 2, which they are already capable of handling.
Right, because getting the easy answers right gives you that dopamine hit. It makes you feel productive.
Precisely. But the top 5% of students, the elite learners, they operate on a strict 80-20 rule.
Okay, break that down for us.
Yeah.
What does that time management actually look like?
They spend only 20% of their prep time on parts 1 and 2, just as maintenance work to keep their level. And then they dedicate a massive 80% of their time to practicing parts 3 and 4.
That makes so much sense. Because what happens to the average student is they just hit a wall when they reach part 3.
Yes, hitting a wall is the exact neurological phenomenon happening there.
For our listeners, let's clarify that idiom. To hit a wall means to reach a point where no more progress can be made.
Exactly, like you are moving forward and then suddenly you just stop. A good example would be, I was learning fast, but then I hit a wall with advanced grammar.
It means you get completely stuck. And that is what happens in the test. They're cruising through part 2, checking boxes, and then bam, part 3 hits, and their brain just shuts down.
Which is exactly why the elite students practice the hard parts so aggressively. They expect the wall to be there.
It is so much like a video game, you know.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, you don't spend all your time playing the tutorial level if the final boss fights are what keep killing your character.
That is a brilliant analogy. The tutorial is easy and safe.
Exactly. You speed through the tutorial once, and then you spend days getting crushed by the final boss so you can learn its patterns.
And that is exactly what the elite students do with parts 3 and 4. They train for the boss fights.
Exactly. All right, if you're finding this valuable, please like, share, and subscribe. In the next 5 minutes, you will learn exactly how to train for the specific personalities of everyday English scenarios.
So strategy 2 is all about recognizing that just knowing the test format is not enough. You really have to understand the personality of each section.
The personality. I love that terminology. What does the personality of part 1 actually look like?
Well, part 1 almost always features two people talking, usually on the phone. They're just exchanging very basic administrative information.
Like phone numbers or dates or booking a hotel room?
Yes, exactly. But the hidden trap here is that this is a highly artificial listening situation.
Wait, really? But it sounds like just a normal, everyday phone call.
It sounds normal on the surface, but think about it. In real life, people rarely listen to someone intensely spelling out a complex 12-character license plate without ever asking for clarification.
Oh, that is so true. If someone spells something weird, I immediately interrupt them to check the letters.
Exactly. We rely on redundancy in real life, but the test removes that safety net.
So just listening to general casual podcasts won't actually help you train for part 1.
Not really, no. Podcast hosts don't spend 5 minutes spelling out their mailing address, so your brain is completely uncalibrated for it.
So what is the tactical response for part 1 then?
You have to practice specific form-filling scenarios, like using legacy Cambridge test papers that are designed to simulate these unnatural phone calls.
You essentially have to become a machine at catching numbers and letters.
Precisely. You train to catch the subtle differences in accents when they spell things.
Okay, let's quickly focus on that phrasal verb I just heard, spell out.
Yes. It's a crucial one here. To spell out means to say or write the letters of a word one by one.
Like if I ask, could you spell out your last name for me?
Exactly. Under normal circumstances, it is easy. Under test conditions, with a ticking clock, it can cause a panic cascade.
You really can. Okay, so that is the personality of part 1. What about part 2?
The dynamic shifts completely. Part 2 is a monologue. It is just one person talking about a general social topic.
Like a tour guide talking about a museum or a manager giving a speech?
Right. And the trap here is that in real life, you can ask a tour guide a question. You can say, hey, what do you mean by that?
But on the test, you get exactly one shot. The audio doesn't stop for you.
Exactly. So the secret weapon of elite students here is not listening to boring test prep audio.
Wait, they don't use mock tests for this.
No, because mock test monologues are incredibly sterile and boring. Your brain will just wander.
Oh, I know that feeling. You just start thinking about what to make for dinner.
Right. So instead, they listen to solo podcasts and YouTube channels on topics they actually love.
So if they love true crime or history, they just listen to that?
Yes. Because their intrinsic interest is high, their brain actually wants to extract the information.
They turn their commute into stealth preparation. That is amazing.
It builds up their cognitive endurance without the agonizing boredom.
That is super clever. Okay, moving on. In the next 5 minutes, we are going to face the academic Thunderdome and learn how to handle multiple aggressive speakers at once.
Welcome to Strategy 3, the survival tactics for parts 3 and 4.
The Thunderdome. I always feel my anxiety spiking just thinking about part 3.
And you are not alone in that. Part 3 introduces messy, unpredictable academic chaos.
Because it's multiple speakers, right? Like a university seminar.
Exactly. You are dealing with 3 or 4 distinct speakers, and they are not taking polite turns.
They are constantly interrupting each other, agreeing, and then suddenly disagreeing.
Yes, and it is incredibly easy to panic because suddenly you can't even tell who is talking.
That is the worst part. I lose track of whether the student or the professor is making the argument, and then I fail the question.
Which is exactly how the test designers trick you. They exploit your inability to track attribution.
So how on earth do you prepare for that chaos?
Top-tier students use a very specific counterintuitive strategy. They actively listen to debate podcasts.
Debate podcasts,
Yeah.
like with politicians or philosophers arguing.
Exactly. Panels with 3 or 4 highly articulate speakers passionately arguing over complex topics.
Wow, so you are basically overtraining your brain with chaotic audio.
Yes. It serves as resistance training. If your brain is used to tracking 4 angry pundits talking over each other, a polite university discussion will feel like it's in slow motion.
That is brilliant. Okay, so that neutralizes part 3. What about part 4? The final boss.
Part 4 strips away the conversation entirely. It is a dense, heavily academic university lecture delivered by a single speaker.
And it just goes on, right? No pauses.
It is a relentless wall of information, and passive listening completely fails here.
So how did the top students handle this final boss?
They use TED Talks, but they don't just watch them for entertainment, they actively analyze the structure.
What are they listening for specifically?
They are listening for signposts.
Signposts. That is a fantastic C1 level word. Let's make sure our listeners have that one locked down.
Absolutely. In an academic context, a signpost refers to words or phrases that guide the listener through a speech.
Like saying firstly or however or in conclusion.
Exactly. They act like structural joints. An example would be the speaker used clear signposts to introduce her opposing argument.
And why are these signposts the key to defeating part 4?
Because a lecture is a structured argument, and the test questions mirror that exact structure.
Oh, so when you hear a signpost like turning now to the long-term impacts, you know exactly where you are on the paper.
Precisely. It tells your brain that the answer is coming in the next few seconds. It acts as an alarm bell.
It is like having a map for the audio. You transition from being a passive victim to an active navigator.
Exactly. It's a staggering shift in perspective.
That is a total game changer.
Yeah.
All right, in the next 5 minutes, you are going to learn why using one strategy for every question is like using a hammer to fix a computer.
Which transitions us perfectly into strategy 4, the tool belt strategy.
Right, because there are, what, over 10 different question types in these listening assessments?
Easily over 10 distinct formats. And the problem is that most students walk in holding only a hammer.
Their single strategy is just like, listen as hard as I can and write it down.
Exactly. Which is a great tool if you only have a nail.
But what if the test presents you with a screw or a bolt? If you only have a hammer, you are going to destroy your score.
That is a perfect analogy. You need a highly organized, diverse tool belt because different questions test different cognitive faculties.
Let's break some of those down. What is multiple choice actually testing?
Multiple choice is widely misunderstood. People think it tests basic fact retrieval, but it actually tests your ability to predict and eliminate distractors.
Because they always mention the vocabulary from all the options just to trick you.
Exactly. If you just listen for matching words, you will fall for the trap. You have to wait for the logical disqualifier.
Makes sense. Okay, what about map labeling? That one always confuses people.
Map labeling abandons abstract logic and aggressively tests spatial understanding.
Let's define spatial really quickly for our audience.
Sure. Spatial relates to space and the position, area, and size of things within it, like conceptualizing a floor plan.
Yeah, that requires a completely different part of your brain than multiple choice does.
It really does. You have to translate a stream of audio into a geometric map in your head.
Right, if you confuse left and right for a second, you mislabel everything.
Exactly. It's a domino effect. And then you have summary completion, which tests grammatical anticipation.
Because the grammar written on the paper might be completely different from the grammar spoken in the audio.
Precisely. You have to synthesize spoken grammar into written grammar in real time.
It is so clear that you need a different tool for each type. And I want to remind the listener that there's a free PDF containing all these specific question types and strategies available in the description to download. Definitely go grab that.
Yes, having that tool belt physically mapped out for you is incredibly helpful for your practice.
All right. In the next 5 minutes, we are going to explore the physical endurance secret of listening and why your brain gets so tired.
Strategy 5 is what we call the marathon method. This addresses a massive physiological issue.
Right, because the most overlooked point of failure isn't vocabulary. It's the need to maintain laser focus for 30 continuous minutes.
It really is. It is believed that for many top students, their actual English proficiency isn't the problem at all.
It's their focus, right? But wait, let me push back on that for a second. Isn't 30 minutes just half an hour? We watch 3-hour movies on the weekend.
I hear that pushback a lot, But there's a massive neurological difference between passive entertainment and active, highly strained listening.
Oh, like when you are just relaxing on the couch versus taking a high-stakes test.
Exactly. When you watch a movie, your brain is coasting on autopilot. If you zone out for a minute, you still understand the plot.
But on a test, if you zone out for 5 seconds during part 3, you miss 3 consecutive answers.
Precisely. You are demanding maximum operational capacity from your prefrontal cortex without a single break.
You are redlining your cognitive engine. No wonder people get so exhausted.
Exactly. Your brain burns through glucose, and you literally run out of fuel right as you enter the hardest part of the test.
So how do we systematically fix this stamina deficit? You can't just tell yourself to focus harder.
Willpower is finite, so you have to treat it like a physiological training protocol, the marathon method.
Okay, so you don't just jump into a full 30-minute practice test on day 1.
No, if you did that, you would just reinforce your exhaustion. Instead, week 1, you set a timer for exactly 5 minutes of unadulterated focus.
Just 5 minutes. Anyone can grit their teeth and focus for 5 minutes.
It is manageable, which builds confidence, but you do not touch your phone. You lock in completely. Then in week 2, you push it to 10 minutes.
Progressive overload. Week 3 is 15 minutes.
Exactly. You are literally rewiring your brain's metabolic capacity to fire at high intensity for longer durations.
You steadily build up your endurance over a 5-week cycle. That phrasal verb is perfect here. To build up, let's make sure everyone knows it.
Yes, to build up means to increase gradually in amount, size, or strength.
So an example would be you need to build up your confidence before the big presentation, or in this case, build up your cognitive stamina.
Exactly. By test day, 30 minutes will feel entirely natural to your nervous system.
Wow, that is intense but so logical. Okay, in the next 5 minutes, we'll uncover a brutal reality about how we are taught in classrooms versus how the real world actually sounds.
So strategy 6 confronts a really harsh truth about the classroom environment.
Yeah, this one blew my mind. Classrooms basically coddle students, don't they?
They absolutely do. Language teachers want to support you, so they play the audio 2 or 3 times to make sure everyone gets it.
But the real world does not have a rewind button. Your boss isn't going to repeat instructions 3 times. The airport announcement only plays once.
And most importantly, the test is designed to enforce this real-world constraint. The audio plays exactly once.
Right, so if your brain expects a second chance, the terror of knowing you only have one shot will make you freeze up.
It induces total linguistic paralysis. You have to build mental discipline against this.
So when you practice at home, you listen once, answer, and absolutely no rewinding.
Even if it feels agonizing, discomfort means your brain is adapting.
I love that. Now, there is also a highly practical physical tip from our research today about audio quality.
Yes, environmental audio quality is the silent killer of test scores.
People assume they're going to get a perfect soundproof studio, right?
They do, and it's a catastrophic assumption. You might be in a cavernous gymnasium with echoing speakers.
Oh, that is a nightmare. Trying to hear overlapping voices while the sound bounces off concrete walls.
It's impossible. The cognitive load required just to hear the consonants will drain your stamina instantly.
So what is the tactical defense here?
Top students specifically hunt down and book computer-based tests whenever they are available.
Because computer-based tests guarantee that you get a dedicated pair of headphones.
Exactly. Headphones physically isolate the sound. They block out the coughing, the echoing. It reclaims massive amounts of processing power.
That is such a massive advantage. But what if a computer-based test isn't an option in their city?
Then you must become an aggressive self-advocate. Call the center, ask about their audio setup.
And if you get there on test day and the audio is terrible,
You must raise your hand and complain immediately.
don't just suffer in silence and complain online later, right?
Exactly, because that accomplishes nothing. Demand a technical intervention or a free rebooking. The audio quality will truly make or break your entire performance.
Make or break. That is our idiom focus for today. Let's define it for the listeners.
To make or break means to be the factor that decides whether something succeeds or fails. There is no middle ground.
So an example is the final interview will make or break her chances of getting the job.
Right. And bad speakers will definitely break your test score.
For sure. All right, in the next 5 minutes, we will reveal the ultimate advantage, the high-altitude training method.
Strategy 7 is arguably the most potent strategy of all. It deals with the lack of temporal control.
Right, because unlike a reading test, where you can slow down and reread a paragraph.
Yeah.
The listening test controls your pace entirely.
Exactly. You are tethered to the rhythm of the recording. But elite students know there is a massive structural vulnerability they can exploit.
Vulnerability, what is it?
The weakness is that the test audio is, by absolute necessity, artificially pristine.
Artificially pristine. Explain what that means in this context.
It means the voice actors carefully articulate every single consonant. They pause between ideas. They don't mumble or use heavy local slang.
Yeah, it sounds like laboratory-grade English. Nobody on the street actually talks that clearly.
Right. So top-tier students exploit this by making their practice radically more hostile than the test itself.
Oh, this is the marathon runner analogy. I love this.
Yes, it perfectly encapsulates the concept of desirable difficulty.
So when a marathon runner wants to prepare for a race at sea level, they go train at a high altitude in the mountains.
Right, where the oxygen is incredibly thin.
It is grueling. Their lungs burn, it feels like torture, but their body adapts and builds more red blood cells.
And then race day arrives.
They come back down to sea level where the air is thick with oxygen, and suddenly running feels completely effortless.
And that physiological adaptation is exactly what you must apply to your auditory processing.
So how do we force our brains up the mountain?
You intentionally subject yourself to the most chaotic, rapid-fire native English you can find. You strip away the subtitles.
You watch gritty cinema where actors are mumbling.
Yes. You listen to unedited comedy podcasts where 3 native speakers are laughing and talking over each other at top speed.
You intentionally drown your brain in phonetic noise.
It will be intensely frustrating, but your neural pathways will adapt to extract meaning from highly degraded audio.
And the payoff on test day must be absolutely euphoric.
It is. When you finally sit down and they play that pristine, carefully paced test audio, it will literally sound like they're talking in slow motion.
You'll have a massive surplus of cognitive time to answer the questions. That is just an incredibly profound strategy.
It truly is the ultimate asymmetrical advantage.
Well, we have meticulously unpacked the 7 core strategies today. But at the very beginning of this deep dive, we promised you a bonus insight. And here it is. The ultimate meta strategy that binds all of this together is called strategic pinpointing.
Yes, strategic pinpointing is the final evolutionary leap. It transitions you from just being prepared to being statistically guaranteed to succeed.
Because average students just apply blanket effort. They say, oh, I need to get better at listening.
Right. But the elite student dissects their practice tests like a forensic investigator.
They realize, hey, my general listening is fine, but I consistently fail map labeling when they use complex spatial prepositions.
Exactly. They pinpoint that highly specific micro-weakness, and they attack it ruthlessly. They do 3 days of nothing but spatial preposition drills.
They eliminate every single risk factor before they ever step foot in the test center. That is the power of strategic pinpointing.
It is absolute mastery. But we have to conclude with a stark warning about this knowledge.
Oh, the take action warning. This is crucial for everyone listening.
Yes. The brutal reality is this. While you were sitting here listening to this deep dive, someone else was actually doing the work.
Right. Don't let this just become intellectual entertainment.
You must execute. Download the PDF blueprint, set your timer for 5 minutes tonight, and submit yourself to the marathon method.
Information is just potential energy. Execution creates momentum. All right, before we go, here is your idiom challenge for the day. Based on today's deep dive, what does it mean when a situation can make or break you? Write your answers in example sentences in the comment section below.
I am really looking forward to reading the creative examples people come up with.
Me too. And if you are ready to take action today, I want you to write "I stay committed" in the comment box right now. Let that active choice sever your ties to passive learning.
That public commitment is a necessary catalyst.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and here is a final provocative thought for you to explore on your own. We talked about external audio, but consider this. How much of your struggle with listening is actually rooted in the silent, incorrect mapping of your own pronunciation?
That is a staggering realization. If you have been silently mispronouncing a word in your head for 10 years, your brain will physically refuse to recognize it when a native speaker says it perfectly.
Exactly. The audio isn't too fast. Your internal dictionary is simply misaligned. That is an entirely different frontier of phonetic training to explore.
It changes the entire paradigm of how we learn vocabulary.
It really does. If you enjoyed this podcast, there are many more podcasts on my channel. Go check them out and binge watch your favorites.